Hello and welcome back to the Single Malt Review, where it's time for a rum, which doesn't make sense, but never mind, because it's going to be good. What have we got, Dave?
Yeah, well, some time ago we looked at this wonderful 9-year-old Guatemalan rum released under Hunter Lang's Kill Devil brand. And, well, as luck would have it, we picked up another equally old, exactly 9-year-old, another South American Kill Devil rum. In this case, it is from Guyana. Now, this is actually our second visit to Guyanan rum. Way back in episode 25, nearly 4 years ago in 2015, we looked at I believe it was a plantation?
It was a plantation. And it was our first exposure to rum, in fact. That was the very first rum we did on the channel. And we've sort of turned into sort of rumophiles after that, because we just can't get enough good rum. If only there was more good rum to get.
And the Kill Devil label from the... What is the company even called? Sorry, I've...
they are Edition Spirits.
Edition Spirits,
which, if you go up the chain, you will eventually find that they are the Hunter Lang people as opposed to the Douglas Lang people after they split and made it incredibly complicated.
Excellent sourcers and bottlers of independent bottled, often even cask strength or single cask. In this case, what we have here is a single cask and cask strength 9-year-old rum. Now, the reason I've got these two up here, the Guatemalan, which we tried before, which sadly, that bottle was recently drained its last drop, it is all gone. That was column stilled. This one, however, is pot stilled. So, aside from that key point of difference, they're very similar spirits overall. Similar region, generally speaking, and similar composition, age, and so on. But different type of distilling, and it makes so much difference.
It makes difference all over the world. I mean, column still versus pot still, you're talking about malt versus grain whiskey at that point. It can make all the difference in the world. But what makes this super special is it is a single cask, cask strength rum, which makes it one of the rarest bloody things on the planet. Because getting even cask strength rum, never even mind single cask, is almost impossible. It's so hard to get hold of. So this is a distinctly uncommon item. So it's going to be absolutely fascinating to crack into it and actually see what's going down in this bottle.
I've partaken of a wee drab out of this one and enjoyed it greatly. There is a lot to unwrap there. So this is one of, 258
258, so that could be a bourbon barrel.
Most likely.
It could be something odd, because odd casks do end up around the South America, Caribbean kind of destinations. You get funny cognac casks, brandy barrels, all sorts of odd things wash up over there, but we'll just have to see. Goodness, that is a very light colour.
Yeah, it is a hefty 63.2% ABV, which is 126.4 proof, if my quick mathematics is correct. It is strong.
That implies it was filled way over proof, because this is a 9-year-old rum. It's been aged in a fairly tropical environment. We're going to see some pretty serious Angel's share coming out of this one.
Yes.
And it's still 0.1% off the filling strength of Scotch whisky. So this must have gone into the barrel like it was some sort of war crime strong stuff. It must have been 70%, 80%, who knows.
Yeah.
I think somewhere between those two numbers, it must have gone in there absolutely wicked strong. And it's still a pretty modest colour. So we're looking at a significantly refilled cask. We're looking at a cask on its second, maybe even its third fill, because the stronger the whiskey that goes in, the more aggressively it's going to take colour and flavour out of the oak.
Yes.
And this could be a sort of a lovely lowland kind of a whiskey.
It is a typical light pallor of a relatively young bourbon cask matured Scotch whisky.
And this is a much truer colour than was colouring removed from all rums, where it is abjectly prevalent. We'd be much more used to seeing this. This would be much less stunning than
this one's from the Diamond Distillery, who produce... What are some of their more known...
They are the El Dorado folks, is what you'll know them from. And if my research is correct, which it, let's call it sometimes is, there's my cursory glance through the internet, that is now the only commercial big production distillery operating in Guyana. So everything comes through there now. There used to be more, there used to be 3, but they were sort of agglomerated into this one, and the equipment from the other 3 distilleries was merged.
For a nation of around 800,000 people, that is decent output for a population that's more.
And then Guyana, and you may have heard the word Demerara before. That is that's the classification given to sugar crops harvested from Guyana. So Guyana, Demerara sugar. That's what's produced this rum. And well, if the sort of fable is to be believed, Demerara sugar has a particularly characterful kind of a note to it. There's sort of more sugary flavours going on. So maybe we'll see this in this what can be known as Demerara rum.
The key difference here being the pot still, column still, like the the Guatemalan rum before. You go up your big narrow still, and you're basically at the risk of oversimplifying. You take a particular slice of that spirit. You're able to select what you're siphoning off to.
Incidentally, just how they crack oil.
Pot still have fractional distillation. Whereas a pot still, you create this big fug of all the spirit evaporates together. You then take that off, filter out all the methanol and other such awfulness by careful process. But you get a more of an agglomerated fug of a spirit. You're not slicing
what
up
you get is
elements.
everything.
Yeah.
There's only the minimal amount of purification. So
and
all
that
the flavours
is what you'll find
too.
in here. That is a very
and what you get is flavour. And I'm nosing this already.
Yeah.
Simply uncorking this bottle will unleash the beast. Here it is a
brutally strong spirit, but also there is so much happening. It is so aromatic. It is infiltrating.
Incredibly aromatic. It is more aromatic than I think maybe 90% of malt whiskies we've had here. And malt whiskey doesn't muck around with being an aromatic component either.
Speaking of those aromas,
huge.
there's sugar cane, so there's that fresh sugary juice, but also some rich brown sugar and some treacle.
Well, it's rum. It's always going to be sugar first, and that's the first thing that comes up.
What manifestation of sugar?
I talked about Demerara sugar. If you're in the supermarket, go to the classy sugar section for your coffee crystals and whatever. They'll probably have some Demerara there, and it's basically just an unrefined brown sugar, but it does have a bit more going on. If you really get your schnoz in there and have a big old draw on a packet of them, that's a pretty real experience to what's happening first and foremost here, and it's so huge that it's quite difficult to unearth the more subtle herbal flavours that are underneath, of which there are a great many. So we'll do our best to dig through here. It's probably going to take water, but we should do our diligence without.
Its full punching strength first.
There's huge fruit there, tropical fruit. There's bananas, mangoes. There's some coconut as well, which is odd.
There is a fair amount of wood too. The cask has left some gentle, woody, and slightly smoky properties.
There's cinnamon spice. There's a bit of cumin too.
It is oddly one of the least sweet noses we've come across on the rum. It's very dry. And it is punishing to the tongue at that full, what did I even say? 63.2.
Oh, 2 even.
Yeah.
That's too strong.
It does the business on you. On your tongue.
I mean, it's not hellish, but it is. To say it warms going down would be an understatement. That is
the same way that lying on the surface of the sun will warm your soul.
Yeah, I mean, we'll sit here and drink, 55, 58% even single cask scotches, and it's like, you can see how this could be a way to drink it. This is not a way to drink it. This is self-flagellation. If you persisted with this. It's interesting because it is super, super oily and super oily, slow palate, all kinds of crazy mineral things, which will disappear once we add water in here. But it just can't be done. We will nuke our tongues, and we have other things to taste today. So we have to be. This is going to have to happen.
That natural flavour aligns so closely with the nose. The palate and the smell just overlap so firmly in their intensity, but also in their nuances. There's almost a one-to-one match. You can draw a diagram listing all the different components of the aroma and of the taste, and you'd be able to pair them up one-to-one. That is going to need more water. So this one takes it takes a bit to bring it down to a sensible human drinking strength.
All right, this is with water. that's just explosively pungent.
Yeah,
this is getting into one of our favourite rums we've seen here, which we've just dismayingly heard they've ceased production, is the Smith and Cross, which is a 50-something%. It's a pretty well cask strength Jamaican rum, and that comes out the bottle like a cannonball to the nostrils. And I think this is the first thing we've had that actually exceeds it. This is even more wild than what was going on in that one.
Adding that water has enlivened some sweetness which was just latent there before. This is, as rum goes, this is oddly savoury. It is lacking in the sweetness we get even from rums which have not
Although
been
we should say
adulterated.
it's lacking in sweetness and that it's lacking in sugar, because it actually is. This is as sweet as it smells because it has just acres of sugarcane on the nose. Atypically for regular rums, the vast majority of rums, they actually have sugar. They're back sweetened. Sugar is actually put back into them. So what you are not necessarily smelling, because you can't smell sucrose, but tasting is actual sugar. This is chemically dry. There is actually no sugar molecules in here whatsoever.
Even compared though to the column stilled Guatemalan rum. Both 90 years old, both South American, or Central even, but from generally the same. And it's just the difference, the lack of sweetness going on here compared to that.
In every way, that has improved that rum. Now that you can actually hone in on the palate and actually taste it without it setting your tongue aflame, that has got
It's got ginger biscuits. It's got shortbread. There are.
Ginger is...
Dandelions and buttercups on the nose.
Crystallised ginger is supremely strong. It's got just endless amounts of fruit, and the amount of just sort of crushed green sugarcane is...
Caramelised brown sugar too. There is so much going on. This I compare to it is kind of the 10 or 12-year-old single malt whiskey of rums. For the sheer depth of flavour, the complexity and richness, it does rival its counterparts from Scotland.
Yeah, this is kind of insane. This is kind of what we've been chasing since we started tasting rum on this channel.
It is not an accessible, easygoing, lightweight, easy-drinking rum. It is a hefty, challenging, complex rum. I attribute a lot of that to the choice of using pot stills over column. A column still would give you a much more sweet, sippable, accessible, friendly, and lively rum. This one is deep and dark and complex and a mission, really.
Yeah,
but in the best possible way.
To try and break this down into individual tasting notes would take longer than we've got for a sensible length video, and that is the rum's quality right there. There is just so much there. It is a rum with so much more, whereas so many of these production sort of commercial rums, your Ron Mocambos, your almost everything, these Solera system rums that are coloured and sweetened, they are rums that are about less, because they're all sort of homogenised into this typical character with the addition of sugar. They're all sort of cut down at the knees and made to kneel at the modern rum altar of added sugar, added colour, added character. By adding, it takes away. This one, by taking away, it adds, because when you strip it away and it's just the rum,
you are tasting
holy moly,
distilled sugarcane in its sort of most pure form, matured in a single cask for a set period of time. You are getting a single rum experience, really.
Yeah, it's a competition between rum and heavily peated Islay whiskey for the trophy of the most aromatic spirit in the world. And examples like this, I think, tip it towards rum, actually.
Wow,
I mean,
really?
Islay whiskey, they'll blow your nuts off.
You can clear the room,
but
yes, with it.
This comes so close. This is such a potent aroma. It is incredible.
I can only imagine what this would do on a hot summer's day as opposed to a cool middle of winter.
We're pretty glad that it's nice, cool
You'd be
temperature in
unleashing cloud. You have a secondary angel's share just by opening the bottle.
This is genuinely stunning. This is so unlike the norm of rum, and it's so much better than the norm of rum. It is the answer to... Is that a... No, it's a fruit fly. I thought it was a spider coming down. Never mind. See, even the fruit flies want it. They know it's the middle of winter, and still a fruit fly manages to emerge just to get this sweet tropical nectar. Scoring this in one respect is going to be quite easy because it's such a good rum. The hard part is sort of making sure I don't go too hyperbolic with it. This is a 96-point rum. This is a stunningly good rum. It is, I think, easily the best rum we've ever tasted on the channel, and it may be the best we taste for a significant amount of time to come. And I think it's the very first single cask rum we've tried.
Possibly,
as well.
yeah.
So,
the Kill Devil range does a lot of
although that
cask
said,
strength or single cask or single origin rums.
A very local rum, the Dancing Sands cognac aged rum. It wouldn't have been single cask, but it would have come from a very, very small batch. So that was close. Exactly. And that was an astounding rum as well. But this is rum quite literally distilled. It is so good. What are your thoughts?
This one also rated very highly. It is just so complex, so cerebral as a sipping experience in the same way that a very old Scotch will be. Or not very old, but a significantly aged Scotch. It rates 91 for me.
Yeah.
It is, perhaps what sets it apart from other rums of a similar age or similar quality is that it's not as readily approachable, not as friendly and drinkable, just because it has that dryness, that complexity, that multi-layered depth to it. So it scores very highly. If you're into just a party rum or you enjoy rum, which is easy to pick up and just down and simply appreciate on the spot, it won't be for rum for you.
No,
but
this
if
is
you want
for...
to really unpack rum and get to know it inside and out, this is the way to start.
This is for rum enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Only. This will just bowl anyone else over.
Yes.
And the idea of mixing this would just be... It would be such a waste if that ever happened to this one.
Price-wise, this will set you back what you would normally pay for a single malt Scotch, anywhere from, depending on brand, of course, between 15 and 25 years old. It is a premium rum. It is
pretty stout rum, pretty stout price.
Exactly. But worth it, because it is cask strength. It's from one cask only. You can just you know all the details before you go into it, and then you just start to learn.
So yeah, that is phenomenal. That is the highest scoring rum and one of the highest scoring spirits we've ever tried on the channel. It is so solid. I think Kill Devil, I mean, they are not in any way, they could not be accused of underpricing their rums. They know how rare they are. They know that people who have just a thirst for quality rum will be forced to pay, because there's simply so few other avenues. Cadenheads will bottle some rums now and then. They are similarly usuriously priced, but we cannot fault their choice of bottlings. It is just so good. So there you go, a sound endorsement of this particular Kill Devil. Is it still available? I don't know. This is obviously, well, you couldn't exactly count them on your fingers, but it wouldn't take you long to tally up 258 bottles. So if you've got one, then probably count yourself lucky, because that's not a hell of a lot to go around the world. But the quality of this one, we can only assume, will overlap with the quality of similar single cask offerings, of which they do quite a number. And yeah, Kill Devil, I think we can wholeheartedly recommend that as a rum bottlers. The people at Hunter Laing doing good work there, finding the good stuff and shining a light on what rum actually is, not this horrible,
the mass market product,
this depressing, sad shadow of itself that ends up in so many bottles around the market, and then immediately it impacts with Coke or goodness knows what else. But anyway, we count ourselves lucky to be trying the good stuff here. So I hope that was informative. I'm still just reeling from the quality of this. It is so good. So I'll evaporate into quiet contemplation over this and bid you slanger, and we will be right back. I think we're going to swing back around to a Scotch whisky, and then we're going to cut loose. We're going to get real. We're going to do it for the internet. I don't know. I'm already losing it. Slanger.
Said it twice.